course, the younger brother is not the only brother in this story. There is another brother. There is another brother. And so let's focus on the older brother for a little while. There are two brothers in the story. Younger brother represents sensual living. Let's take a look at older brother. Older brother is out in the field. Older brother hears the party going on. Older brother wants to know why it's happening. And he finds out from a servant, well, your brothers come home, and they've killed the fattened calf, and there's going to be a party. And older brother, he gets angry. Oh, he is fired up when he finds out his brother is home. Why? Why is he so angry? Check out what he says. Let's reread if we can. Verse 29. Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. Why is he angry? I'll rephrase. Hey, Dad, all these years, I did what I was supposed to do, and I said what I was supposed to say. I didn't go off and have my own adventure. I didn't throw off all restraint. I didn't blow your money. I stayed home. I did what I was supposed to do. And you hardly noticed, like I was invisible to you. I'll try it a different way. Dad, listen. All these years, I lived the right way. I stayed home where you were. I did the things I was supposed to do. I checked all the right boxes. I followed the rules. I obeyed when I was supposed to obey, and you didn't pay attention. No reward for me. There's a bunch of you watching this who are thinking, kid's got a point. I personally have done this. There have been times in my life where I have said to God, you're going to let what set of circumstances come my way right now? You're going to blindside me with what right now? And then I pull out my resume before God as if he needs to be reminded. Can I remind you, God, that 10 years ago, I helped run a very successful training school at Zion Fellowship for teenagers and young adults? Can I remind you about that, of all the successes that came from taking time with young adults and investing in them and sending them out? Can we talk about the fact that I ran the nursery at Zion Fellowship for a year and a half? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the fact that I thought Marcus would be a great person to run the nursery at Zion Fellowship? Can we talk about that? I pull out my resume like God needs my resume. And then I come back with, so you're going to blindside me with what? You're going to hit me with what set of circumstances right now? You want to know what's behind all of that? That's never said, but is always there? You want to know what the undertow is there? I deserve better. That's the undertow there. I deserve better. It's why the older brother pulls out his resume. The older brother is upset at the way his younger brother is treated because he thinks he deserves more because of what he's done. The older brother represents for us religious striving. He is doing all the right things because he wants Dad to owe him one. He wants leverage in his relationship with his dad. How do we know? Well, we know because look at who the story is told to. If you go to the beginning of Luke 15, so that's scrolling up or looking up on a page, maybe flipping back one, look at who is listening to the story. Jesus says that the crowds gathered. And the crowds, they were younger brothers because at that time it was 400 years since there was a prophet in the land. It's the Malachi to Matthew gap. So you've got people who hadn't heard the word of the Lord in 400 years. They were just living life. So they're younger brothers. They're just doing what they got to do to get by. But the religious leaders, now they're a different story. They were the ones who, when everybody else was just sort of doing their own thing, they stayed home. And they were true to the word. And they were interpreting the word. And they were living for God when nobody else was living for. They were ticking all the right boxes. Jesus puts them squarely in the story because he's a really good teacher. Jesus is a really good teacher. And he puts the religious leaders right in the middle of the story. The religious leaders were older brothers. They had done what they were supposed to do. They had said what they were supposed to say. I ministered in a church that used to sloganize this. I don't smoke and I don't chew and I don't run with those who do. Like, it's that mentality. And when you have that mentality, sometimes, if your motivation is wrong, you end up like the religious leaders did, judgmental and condescending. Whenever it's all about your resume, whenever it's about working hard to gain an edge with God, it results in either pumping up your own accomplishments or dampening down someone else's. And so religious leaders, the religious leaders of the day and older brothers everywhere end up judgmental and condescending. It's just how things work. When you're working to gain an edge, you are judging other people all the time because it's all about what you deserve that's better. If I may be so bold as to say, both brothers have the same fatal flaw. Both brothers are more concerned with the father's stuff than the father's heart. Both brothers have this insidious flaw where they care much more about what dad has than who dad is. With the younger brother, it's obvious. He goes to his dad and literally asks for dad's stuff. With the older brother, you can tell because of how dad has to go out and pastor this. Dad's got to go outside and say, son, we had to rejoice and be glad. He's teaching his son what his heart is. Recognizing that the son gets all the stuff. He doesn't deny that the son gets all the stuff. But his son needed his heart more. And that's what dad pastors him into. Both brothers care more about the father's stuff than the father's heart. And we can go that way if we're not careful. We can go that way and be much more concerned with what God can give than who God is and how he feels.